Good morning. This is John Gregory Presco coming to you live on December 31st at 10:48 a.m. This morning I went and got this book from my shelf and I forgot it was there. I was been piecing together the trail of Mark Gall, who pretended to be my friend for many years. We had a mutual friend, Ed Corbin, and I was close with Ed and his sons. I was close with Mark Gall's son, Johnny Gall, and his wife, Joy. Mark was very threatened by my books I was writing when I first met him. Uh, I knew of the authors of this book, Lynn Pickett and Clive Prince. I was writing a similar book with revelations in it. Uh, it's amazing. Everything's just coming together. And to find out how close it was to me, it's so strange. I'm just now coming out of this spell, this fog, that this evil man, who was the head of the Department of Education at University Oregon, very evil man. He gaslighted me, pretended to be my friend because of a mutual friend. He was getting ready to retire as the head of the Department of Education. He was looking to write his great book, probably his autobiography. Ed Corbin introduced me to him because he's very impressed when I told Ed what I was doing, that I was writing a book influenced by the Holy Blood, Holy Grail, as was the Templar Revelation. Now, Mark Gall's friend Greg, and I got to get his last name, gave me this book along with the Da Vinci Code. Because he'd read them and he'd heard that I was interested in this subject. He's friends with a Christian author that lived here. She just moved, and some other people, mutual Christian friends to this very day. Mark discovered that there was a connection between these groups, and right there, he considered me an honorary member of his family, and so did Ed Corbin's family. And all of a sudden, I'm slowly moved out and put out in the cold. And this is surgical. This is why it's evil. Because Mark Gall is threatened, jealous, that a high school dropout, a friend of Ed, a Harvard graduate, and basically a rival of his, secret rival. Mark Gall is a very mentally ill person, as I've been writing in my book. And he moved me solely to the outside. And he did it so I would not be detected and say what I'm saying and writing what I'm saying. Because he's trying to get his book out before mine. And I'm pretty sure he's making his late son, Johnny Gall, the center of his book. Johnny Gall suffered from a rare Lou Gehrig type disease and deteriorated over the period of 3 years and died about 3 years ago. I was not invited to his funeral. I believe Mark Gall got me bumped from Ed Corbin's funeral. I realized he did not invite me to Ed Fadley's funeral or his mother's funeral. And this Bill, who's a friend of Greg and Johnny, didn't invite me to his funeral. But there's a saying, keep your enemies close. But that's exactly what Mark was doing. He wanted me to go away because I was stealing the limelight. In his mind, I was stealing it, but it began to focus on me. This high school dropout, uh, 36 years sobriety. It's related to Christine Rosamund Benton, a real famous artist. And there's a couple of books written about her, a movie script. So, I mean, it's hard to believe, but Mark Gall saw, the answer in his dying son, that he can make him the focus of his autobiography. And of course, Johnny knew the Corbin boys, I think, almost since he was born. So the door closed on me. I was taking care of Ed Corbin for many, many years. Didn't charge any money. Did it because I was a friend. I liked Ed. And I was there after he got some strokes. I actually saved his life. He had some strokes, and I didn't realize that when I was there. And only when I got home did I realize that he was having strokes. And I called him up, and he was half paralyzed. And I called 911. I saved Ed Corbin's life. This is just what people do. So, by the way, this is the new Radio Church of God broadcast. I revived Herbert Armstrong's radio show. He used to broadcast in KRE down the street. So Greg, who I had a contention with when George Bush got elected, beat Al Gore, he was very happy. And he basically said, that he wants Christians to become Republicans and beat Democrats. What year was that Al Gore was beaten? I said, we got in a little argument. There wasn't any threat of violence, which I now understand Mark Gall has been saying. He's a liar, and he's been stabbing me in the back, and he's been demeaning me, my character, and I think that's called slander, isn't it? I will find out. I will talk to these people, or my attorney will. So, Greg knew I was onto something. So did Mark Gall, so did Joy Gall, and they did not help me whatsoever. I actually do believe Joyce Gall said she would edit my book, and I got a lot of emails to go through from Mark Gall to piece this together, because he's a part of this of these mysteries that Dan Brown exploited. I knew some very earnest authors, including Zena Halpern. We exchanged emails, and she was on the Oak Island mystery show. What's the point? All right, let's go. Let's go with this. Wow, it's just everywhere. So I opened this at random. I haven't had time to read this. I haven't read the Da Vinci Code. So I opened this and read this. It's just amazing. One of the few remaining holy texts of the Cathars is the Book of John, also known as the Liber Secretum, which is a Gnostic version of the Gospel of quite another John, Much of it is exactly the same as the canonical gospel, but it contains some extra revelations purportedly given privately to John, the beloved disciple. There are dualist Gnostic ideas that, that accorded with the Catharist general theology. In this book, Jesus tells his disciples that John the Baptist was, in fact, a emissary of Satan, the Lord of the material world, which sent to try to preempt his mission of salvation. Get behind me, Satan. This was originally a Bogomil text and was not completely accepted by either all Bogomils or all Cathars. Many Catholic sects entertained rather than more orthodox ideas about John, and there are even signs that the Bogomils in the Balkans held rites on his feast day, June 24th. This is John the Baptist, right? Born June 24th. What is certain is the Catholics did have a special regard for John's Gospel, which is generally accepted as by scholars as being the most Gnostic of the New Testament. I disagree with that. In occult circles, there is a long-standing rumor that the Catholics had another new lost version of John's Gospels, and many occultists have searched the area around the Mont Seigneur, hoping to find it without success. Clearly, the Catholics had unorthodox, if perhaps confused, ideas about John the Baptist, but was there anything in all their concept of the evil John and a good Jesus? Perhaps not as such, but as several modern commentators have suggested, the relationship between those two men may not have been quite as clear as most Christians are led to believe. The Catholic idea may have represented their dualistic philosophy as its most simplistic. One of the pair is bad and the other good. But if so, then a logical conclusion is that they regarded them as opposites but equal. This implies that the Catholics thought of them as rivals, which is hardly traditional, which is hardly the traditional Christian view, and it reveals that disconcerting doubts about John's alleged support of Jesus' missions had been recognized in that area a long time ago, like the relationship of the Magdalene and Jesus, that of John and Jesus appears to have been perceived as radically different from the version taught us uh, by the church. Wow. So I haven't read any of these books, these so-called rival books from rivals that I encountered on the Yahoo groups in 1997. And I deliberately didn't read any of their stuff because I didn't want to be influenced by them. I believed I was getting uh, direct messages from my angel that I encountered when I died and came back. Indeed, she has led me to the truth. Yesterday, the president of South Africa, who belongs to the Zulu Nazarite Church, launched a grievance against Israel in the World Court, accusing Israel of genocide and war crimes. And when I tried to become a Christian, I was thrown out of the church because I asked too many good questions. And I baptized myself after I wrote on a piece of paper, I'm a Nazarite. And then 3 days later, I went to town and got on the computer at the library in Eugene and looked for other Nazarites, and I found the Pseudo Nazarites. This brings us to what I'm going to do right now, which I started working on yesterday, and I hadn't put it on my blog, Roy Rosenwald Press. I'm going to come in spirit to Jerusalem and cross that bridge as the spiritual head of the new Ghost Dance. I was close with Joy, who was manager of Fox Hollow, where Mark's mother, Ray, lived for several years. I went there once a month. I had dinner, a family night with Ray, Johnny, and Joy, and Mark Gall. And I did that for about 3 years. Religiously, I didn't miss one. And for Mark Gall to say that I was never an honorary member of the family, an email, is an outrage. And I'm going to be forced to bring a lawsuit against this devil because he's a devil. He offered me money if he could bring in his girlfriend and screw her in my bed while I waited in my truck. And I'm close friends with his wife. And his son, Johnny, has become ill. Outrageous. So that's another reason he's moving me out. Doesn't want me to spill the beans what kind of person this is. So I'm going, he's like a Judas. He's really like a Judas. It's hard to see that someone you consider your friend. We play golf all the time. We went fishing all the time. Asked Mark's help to get Ed into Serenity Lane. He really didn't do the intervention, but he said he'd be there for me. But he really, I could see that I was really left holding the bag. The sons weren't helping enough. And I have photographs of me borrowing Marilyn's car to drive Ed to Serenity Lane. I didn't have a car. Well, Mark Gall had 2 cars, and his sons all had a car. How come they didn't drive me and Ed to Serenity Lane? See, that's the other truth. Right? They really neglected Ed. His sons neglected him, and Mark Gall neglected him. He had money to hire somebody to come and take care of Ed. I was helping his son, helping Johnny get to his doctor appointments in my little Mustermobile. I get like, so I'm, and then I'm helping Virginia Hamley. And I just found an amazing truth about her grandparents and the Rothschild. It's all coming together. So back to Joy, and I got to go look in my note. I forgot her last name, but she was the great-granddaughter of Oglala Sioux chiefs. One of them, John Grass, who tried some members of the Ghost Dance, but the Oglala Sioux were the ones that helped organize and found the Ghost Dance. And Joy took care of Mark's mother. And Joy and I were sort of Well, we were dating for a while. I spent a lot of time at her house and met her sons and her sisters, and she showed me the photographs of her chief ancestors, and I was considered an honorary member of that family. They showed me their genealogy, saying that they're uh, descending from Robert Bruce, as the Corbins are. Uh, so I've been looking at the Austrian uh, debts. Well, I'm going to keep this a secret. It's really amazing. It's that important. Important. It's going to tie everything I'm doing together. But what I'm going to do is bring the ghost dance to Israel and join it with the supernova dance. And we're going to get reparations for the American Indian and those that were murdered at the Supernova Festival. Because I believe they were set up. No one came to their rescue for 6 hours. And they didn't like the war hawks officially. They don't like Bibi Netanyahu. They hated what these war hawks were doing. They were anti-war movement, basically, that imitated the hippies. And I've been communicating with Peter Shapiro. We've been working on a sort of a novel, musical play that's now turned into something else, involving Stephen Hines and his art, and it's all coming together. It's just everywhere. So I've been looking at the Jews suing a lot of people for what Hitler did, and then going against the better advice of the UN and Falk Bernadette and other people, that if they return to Zion, there'll be trouble. There'll be a war with the Philistines and the Palestinians, and I mean the Arabs forever and ever. And there we are. So, and I finally got around to doing this. They say that Christopher Columbus was a Jew and he was surrounded by Sephardic Jews. And they apparently were on a mission that I believe was launched by the Sephardic Jews and other Jews to find a new Zion and get out of Spain, because Ferdinand and Isabella were coming down on the Jews in the relationship to Islam at I can't remember the name, the Arcadian, something like that. Anyway, they got expelled. But I believe this could have happened after this new Zion was discovered, and it really wasn't an expulsion. That's just a disguise. It looks like it was an agreement between Christianity and Spain, which was the Habsburgs, right? Am I wrong? Who is Isabella? Gone. Getting around to it, folks. I'm typing and working and thinking as fast as I can here. This is part of the Herbert Armstrong study. This book, Da Vinci Code, other books are really a continuation of Herbert Armstrong's study of some of his theories, like British Israelism, that people knocked him for. Well, I found some things out about that. And this is part of it. All right, so let's go read this. Another piece of the evidence lies in the fact that all the personalities who supported Columbus before the kings are of Jewish origin, and that his voyage was mainly funded by two Jewish conversos and a prominent Jew, Luis de Santa Angel, Gabriel Sanchez, treasurer of the Crown of Aragon, and Don Isaac A. Barbano, respectively. In 1973, in a 1973 book, Simon Wiesenthal postulated that Columbus was a Sephardi, careful to conceal his Judaism, yet also eager to locate a place of refuge for his persecuted fellow countrymen. Wiesenthal argued that Columbus's concept of sailing west to reach the Indies was less the result of geographical theories than of his faith in certain biblical texts, specifically the book of Isaiah. Hello, Herbert Armstrong. And the end time Elijah, who I've claimed is me, and Elijah John the Baptist. He repeatedly cited two verses from that book. Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish, first to bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them. And for behold, I create new heavens and a new earth. Wiesenthal claimed that Columbus felt that his voyage had confirmed these prophecies. James Francis Ambler shared these views in 1977. Estill largely echoed this as well, further noting that Columbus always wrote in Spanish, occasionally included Hebrew in his writing, and reference to Jewish high holidays in his journal during the first voyage. The Sukkot Booth. Attack on the Supernova Group on October 7th, when they were celebrating their version, a modern version of the Sukkot Booth ceremony. And I've pretty much proven that Jesus was born in the Sukkot Booth. So there it is. All coming together, folks. I'm going to say until next time, this is John the Nazarite, judge, and the king of the new ghost dance. Take care out there here.